Hello, I'm FPX Toycat, and Minecraft Dungeons launched just over a week ago now to overwhelmingly good reviews, with the exception being the weird issues regarding DLC and regarding the lack of endgame content, something made very interesting by today's leaks, because within the game files for Minecraft Dungeons, there are new pieces of armor, there are new artifacts, a new pet, and even an entire game mechanic which is mentioned in the guide, but not in the full release, and this would be interesting enough by itself until you see that the DLC for this game, which was announced already to be coming out just a month after launch, that DLC is found within the game files already and is in fact, as of yesterday, fully playable just by modifying the game files. And today I wanted to talk about all of these things because it is quite an incendiary debate, but perhaps something that is even bigger than that is the fact that Minecraft Dungeons has a little health potion on the hotbar at all times, but there is no way to customize this, unlike pretty much every other thing that you can find there. However, this could be changing soon because it does seem as though there is this icon for the Oakwood Brew Potion, as it's referred to in the game files. There is a chance that's just a placeholder name, and there's a chance that this is an artifact too, but it seems as though this is going to be a type of potion because it is labeled differently to the other things, and if it's going to be a potion, it's going to potentially be able to replace your health potion. This is a great way for Minecraft to add complexity, but what I don't like about this is that this seems to be a way of expanding the complexity of Minecraft if you get the DLCs, which sounds really great. Minecraft Dungeons being more complex when you download a thing, obviously gives people more reasons to play a game they might like and kind of ran out of reasons to play. But what I really don't like about it is it implies that when people complain the game was simple and basic, that they could have done something about it. They could have just had a single potion drop somewhere in the default, 9 levels, or even in one of the secrets, but they didn't, and they're probably going to include it in one of the DLCs, which feels a bit weird by itself, because we kind of understood that, like, okay, there's going to be DLC, there's going to be some levels in that DLC, free of which, as we understand right now, and there's also going to be potentially new artifacts and weapons to give you a reason to play these. Obviously, every level has unique artifacts, has unique weapons. Here are what the artifacts look like. You can see there's a totem of soul protection, you can see there is an ice wand, and you can see there is a bag of corrupted seeds. So again, I would guess that the ice wand is probably coming in the second DLC, but there are two brand new pieces of artifacts and they both look kind of interesting. And then you can also see how there's a brand new weapon which looks like a whip and would presumably have a lot of range. You can see how there's a kind of snowy armor style, and you can also see how there's this kind of leopard print armor, kind of like how there's wolf armor in Minecraft Dungeons in the default game. There could likely be the kind of leopard armor because you kill a leopard in the jungle, or there's just leopards on the level. Something along those lines would make a lot of sense. So yeah, those things obviously make sense as being DLC specific, but something that it doesn't strike me as right is putting the potions behind that barrier. And something else that doesn't feel right is the diamond dust, which is something found within the game files. It's represented as a form of currency, it seems, and although I'll admit I thought the worst when I saw there was something called the diamond dust as a second currency in Minecraft Dungeons, I was like, oh no, they did it. They broke their promise regarding no microtransactions. However, if you check out the official Minecraft Dungeons guide handbook, which, let's be honest, most people haven't done, but just for your convenience, I'll show you the page in the book right here, where it says the blacksmith will trade your emeralds for a randomized piece of gear. The higher your level, the better the gear will be. We're familiar with that, right? But you might not be familiar with the fact that underneath it, it says there's also a mason who will give you diamond dust in exchange for emeralds. Diamond dust can be used to increase the power level of a piece of gear. In other words, if you have a piece of gear that you really like, but you want to keep it even though you leveled up and you found better pieces of gear, you could upgrade it using that diamond dust. So diamond dust is likely to be a new mechanic allowing you to upgrade gear, not just so you can keep a piece of gear past when it becomes viable, but hopefully it will allow us to surpass the current cap for Minecraft Dungeons gear, which sits around about level 110 level gear and armor. Even though your level can go as high as you like, the gear that you can find will never be of a power level greater than 110, so this could be a way to potentially push past that, and maybe they're waiting till more people get to the late game to release it, or maybe they decide to shelf it. We don't know for sure, but I imagine that it will come out the same time that they announce this new DLC as a way to soften the blow. Hey, here's something you can do for free. I would find it ridiculous if you could only get diamond dust in the new DLC, and I have to imagine that's not their intention whatsoever, but you never know. I mean, this is a new game with a new monetization strategy, which supposedly relies around DLC and not microtransactions. They came out and they've said before, no loot boxes, no microtransactions, but the way that they do intend to make money is by releasing downloadable content packages. In other words, you can buy some levels if you want to. They are optional, they are one-time purchases, and the first one is coming out in July. And the reason that's so interesting is because they actually posted these details literally 48 hours after the game came out. They said Minecraft Dungeons on the horizon, and yeah, I don't know if that's like brutally honest, or if it indeed is the other way around where it's like, they already announced DLC plans. That really comes down to your own personal views on this one, but the the monetization for this game does seem to be in releasing brand new content packages via DLC, brand new levels, brand new experiences. Indeed, it seems brand new artifacts and armor that come with those levels. So yeah, let's talk about Jungle Awakens, because they actually did give a surprising amount of information regarding this. They said that, hey, there is actually going to be 3 brand new levels in this first DLC. They said it's going to be coming out in July. They didn't clarify the date, but it makes sense that like June is the never update month, and therefore July is going to be when they focus back on Minecraft Dungeons. So at some point in July, we're going to be seeing Jungle Awakens. They said that it's going to have 3 new levels, and they also said that it's going to have new weapons, armor, and artifacts, and then also clarified that there's going to be 3 types of brand new enemies not seen in the base game: the Leap Leaf, the Jungle Zombie, the Poison Quill Vine, and then they just say others as well. But this already made a certain portion of the community unhappy, because the idea that so soon after launch they were going to be focusing on DLCs instead of releasing a free level pack update, or instead of releasing major updates to the game itself, they're focusing on releasing things that they can sell. And of course, it kind of makes sense when you think about it from a business angle, but it's also not what we've expected from Minecraft all along. Minecraft has traditionally been the release a game for, like a certain price, and then release updates to the game, and hopefully encourages more people to buy it for that price. But it seems like Minecraft Dungeons is going down the DLC route, something that already caused a lot of controversy, and that was before we saw these images. So yesterday, a Minecraft modder called Wanted Robot, he is known for working on a bunch of texture packs, has been working on some Minecraft Dungeons texture packs, and as one of the efforts of that, they accidentally found a way into some secret files within the game, and one of those secret files is, as you can see right here, one of the Jungle Awakens levels. Not only that, not only is there a Jungle Awakens level, admittedly not fully formed, there seems to be nothing within there, but there's also a level from the second DLC sitting in the game files already. And this is something that kind of pushes people past the edge, because sure, having some like placeholder images and text and having the idea of what you want to be in there is kind of fine, but having it be mostly fleshed out with these fully formed levels, look at the foliage in the Jungle Awakens, a piece of DLC they're selling within a month is clearly mostly formed. I mean, they even have it like on the map, a place reserved for it. There's a nether portal in the the camp where you're clearly going to be able to go. It really seems like they are gearing up to sell this immediately from the get-go. And the even worse accusation that you might be able to level at them is that this is clearly going to be a thing that they developed before the game came out, but instead of giving it away for free with the base game, instead of giving it rather than for free actually, rather than giving it away to people who paid for the game, instead they carved it off as a piece of separate DLC, not as part of one of the base 9 levels, which again a lot of people said. And the solution to that not many levels thing is something that Mojang is willing to sell to you for a price. So yeah, there is a huge first of all, let's just point out that these are clearly not finished levels. They've got a lot of things to go in there, but the controversy is one that I really find interesting, because it comes down to what we feel like we're buying when we buy a game. When you buy a game, technically speaking, you are buying a very fixed in place product, right? You're buying this one thing. If you'd looked into it, you'd know you're buying 9 levels on 3 difficulties with something like like 60 pieces of gear, artifacts, and weapons. You'd know exactly what you're buying if you really wanted to, but most people don't make decisions knowing exactly what the state of things are. They just assume that, like, yeah, everything that Minecraft has put their effort into for the last couple of years, I'm getting all of that, and I'm trying out a brand new genre. When you find out that some of that development time went on to different things which you would have been excited to play, but that you cannot play without paying additional money, that seems very wrong. Because DLC sounds like a great idea when you're talking about, influencing the developer into developing the game even after its launch, into making big content after its launch. That sounds really exciting, but when you're just paying for things that were in there by default, that they spent the time developing but decided to carve out extra, that feels really bad. In the same way, I don't know, if you buy a TV and then they try to sell you this stand for extra and say, oh, you don't actually need a stand, it kind of hurts. Actually, a similar example of this is like Nintendo sells 3DSs without, charging cables. You have to buy those separate, I believe. I guess they don't sell many Switches these days. But also, Apple is going to be dropping the headphones in the box to encourage you to buy AirPods, right? Companies giving you less so that you will spend more with them and buy extra products is a thing that is happening in a few different, industries, and it never feels good because people don't like the idea of being treated as just a cash cow. Even if you have the money to spend, you prefer to be approached honestly in most transactions in life. This is why people generally have a distrust for organizations when they get large enough, because honesty is not something that pays off with super large corporations, and therefore as a result, people feel like they're being ripped off, because if they were just told like, hey, these are some extra levels you can buy right now, we've worked on them mostly, they feel pretty fine. But because it's being advertised as DLC, downloadable content, despite being mostly, or at least partially, in the game files already. You're not going to have to actually download everything. That's the thing that leads a lot of people into frustration. And then because it's Minecraft, and because, you know, Minecraft is the game that first kind of generated the live service model, or the idea of a game which continuously updates as a way of, you know, keeping the player base in there and driving new sales, it was wildly successful, and they make brand new content updates, major brand new content updates. Like the update to Quatic entirely changed Oceans, added a bunch of new items. The Nether update, which incidentally coming out pretty soon, right? You know, like just a few weeks until the entire Nether changes. They're adding like 5 new biomes. Just a few weeks until there's 60 plus brand new blocks in a game that you might have bought literally in, you know, in my case, 2010 for Java and 2012 for the Xbox 360, which because of the transferable license has covered me all the way until here, the modern day Bedrock version on Xbox One. I'm still getting updates from a purchase that I made 8 to 10 years ago. If you bought it in 2009, you got a discount, and also you're funding the, you know, the development of something which is still going to this day. It's a pretty interesting change in that model, though a lot of people don't like on that level. And then it also has the worst form of DLC, where it's something that clearly had plans to exist and already kind of exists in the first place. But the truth is, this happens in pretty much every game. Every game has plans for what they're going to do afterwards. It's just some games include more of that on the disc, and some games don't include it. I personally think that if you look at Minecraft Dungeons as a game, it's either worth your money by default or it's not worth your money. I think most people actually choose to, you know, buy the Hero Edition, and therefore you get the DLCs, at least the first 2 anyway. But what I do see is the little bit of like betrayal, the kind of lack of trust, which is why people don't feel good about this. And that's something that if I were Minecraft, I would be doing my best to fix. And in fact, that is why I would say that all of this other stuff we've seen in there's even in the game files, there's these you know, things that kind of hint that there's some form of daily quest coming, perhaps. Again, we just see a bunch of icons. This is from Windows Centrals, by the way. But like, there's a bunch of icons which hint that like, oh yeah, there's going to be some form of daily, weekly, you know, like quest and challenge and maybe leaderboard or something. I think if you add these to the game at the same time, it kind of softens the blow off DLC, because like on the one hand it's something that feels like it's an integral part of the game, but on the other hand they're adding brand new things at the same time, hopefully, to justify you buying that first purchase. When you buy a game, you hope that there's going to be some updates. You don't expect them all to be major, but when it's Minecraft, when it's Mojang Studios, you kind of do expect a higher level. Maybe that's something they want to remove by making this. Maybe that's something they feel cursed by, but that just kind of is what people expect. Minecraft is a very consumer-friendly game, and any step towards being slightly less consumer-friendly is something that people won't like, even if it's something done much worse by the rest of the industry. And let's be very clear right now, Minecraft Dungeons is still a much better monetized game than the rest of the industry. They still don't have microtransactions. I've said this before, but like, that's the hill I'll die on. That's the moment where I say, nope, not anymore, and I officially, I say like it's worth boycotting the game or whatever. But yeah, assuming that's not their monetization plans, maybe they've got a good system where they can, you know, monetize the game without having to rely on, you know, whales or, you know, whatever system free-to-play games have, and I'm hoping that's where Minecraft Dungeons goes. But for now, we don't really know. We just know that in July, we'll be learning more about the Jungles Awaken DLC. Let me know if you'd like to see some, again, streams and some videos for that when it comes out, because, yeah, I've been really enjoying Minecraft Dungeons, but we have hit a big cap. I'd say my biggest criticism, we won't dive into it here, is just the fact that you run out of content at some point, and that's the part that to me makes this kind of hurt, that like, oh, you run out of content, and then conveniently, they announce that there's going to be some new content, but you gotta pay for it. And I'm fine with paying personally, because, I mean, the game is free on Games Pass for me anyway, so I'm not, like, hugely disadvantaged by paying for a single piece of DLC. But yeah, that's why I would actually guess, because a lot of their people get it on Games Pass, that they need to make money from those players somehow, because I don't think Games Pass pays a particularly huge amount to have their games on there. Anyway, this is a whole side point for now. All I want to say is thank you for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of these changes in the comments down below, and like this video if you did like it, share it if you really liked it, and make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on if you want to see more of these videos in the future. I'd appreciate it if you consider doing that. If not, then I hope you have a great day regardless. And also, just before I go here, I realized just at the end, some people are going to say that DLC is microtransactions. Generally speaking, microtransactions and DLC are regarded as different things, but some people do regard them as the same. So if you get into a comment section more about that, just know that generally speaking, microtransactions are small recurring transactions for a currency in the game, whereas DLC is like a one-time purchase, and it's also usually not particularly micro, it's like $5 to $10 or something. But unlike microtransactions, you can just buy it and it's done and it's gone forever, whereas you can spend thousands of dollars on some mobile games and still not have everything that you want or need. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my live stream later today. Goodbye.